match.
Here we go. It's Scott the Pitbull Ferrozzo against Jim Mullen. And of course, Ferrozzo, who had the victory over David Tank Abbott in the semifinals of UFC 11. But Jim Mullen comes in very confident with his kickboxing abilities.
I need to fight however the fight should take me. If I have to attack because he's retreating, which I don't see him doing, I will probably be the counter fighter. But I've already seen myself winning the belt and raising my hands 10 different times through a hypnotherapist, and it's already a completed mission. It's just now all it has to do is go through the process.
Here comes Jim Mullen, the current WKA North American heavyweight kickboxing champion. 15-1 as a pro kickboxer, 16-1 as an amateur. He also has been a pro boxer. He fought the likes of Obed Sullivan, who's the IBF North American heavyweight champion, and Justin Fortune, who recently lost to Lennox Lewis. So Mullen is a striker. Mullen also teaches submission fighting at the Ultimate Fighting Concepts in Simi Valley, California.
Well, he has a great kickboxing background, spent 13 years of his life on it, as well as Okinawa Tay, 8 years of that. Then he turned pro boxing. So really, Jim Mullen is a striker, very limited ground experience. He says he's seen his opponent fall, but this is his first time in the octagon, and we know what experience means here.
Well, his opponent, the man they call the Pitbull, Scott Ferrozzo. And one of the things that Ferrozzo is trying to guard against is getting pounded up top. And we see Ferrozzo using his power that he's used before in the UFC. But what about getting hit in his face?
The goal is not to get hit at all in the face. I don't want to go to the doctors. We've got a kind of a pattern going to the doctor after every fight. My game plan is to get it over very quickly, my first fight, and shut him up. I heard he talked some crap about me already, and he has no clue. You know, I feel that if you're not dedicated to the sport 100%, you don't belong in it, period.
Well, here comes the Pitbull, Scott Ferrozzo from Shakopee, Minnesota. 323 pounds. And in his last UFC, he proved he was more than just a load. He proved he could fight.
And that's important to point out, Bruce, that that's 23, 25 pounds less than he normally weighs.
And there is the Ferrozzo plan.
Well, Ferrozzo, a strong wrestling background, but he really does like to punch. He's a headhunter. And because of his size, he really feels he has more power than most, and he tries to bring that power to bear and bring his opponent down.
Here's a look at the tail of the tape for this first heavyweight bout of the evening. It's pit fighting against kickboxing. Ferrozzo, 5 years older. He's got a weight advantage of 108 pounds. One from Minnesota, one from Simi Valley, California. And speaking of California, young man out of Huntington Beach, a two-time UFC finalist, David Tank Abbott, our color commentator for the heavyweight bracket.
Yes, I am here, and I'm here for the heavyweights. I'm not in the small-time kitty category. I'm with the big men.
All right, first of all, Ferrozzo. Ferrozzo was victorious over you. Do you have a grudge against this guy or what?
I don't have any grudges about anybody. I showed up, fought the guy. I was 100% that night, but I wasn't 100% for myself. And he showed up, and he was the better man that night. C'est la vie.
Your thoughts on the breakdown of the heavyweight tournament versus the lightweight tournament? You like
well,
the
I'm glad.
concept?
Well, it's all right. I mean, weight classes are there for a reason because they can't tangle with the big boys. Isn't that right, Jeff?
Well, as I say, equal skill, then the body can make a big difference. And
well,
if you just don't have that mass, that's certainly not something of less skill. That's just genetics. That's the reality. I think it's going to open the door for a lot of other fighters.
Quite possibly, but not to the giant door.
What do you think's going to happen in this fight?
Well, I would have to say Ferrozzo's going to come out on top. you can't really base yourself as a stand-up fighter and do well unless you got a real strong grappling background.
All right, let's take a look at this overall bracket. It's Mullen and Ferrozzo, and Teligman and Belfort. So Ferrozzo, the only guy with experience, Tank, in the heavyweight tournament. That is huge.
Well, experience is a lot to do with it. You never know, you know. You invite these people to dinner, and you don't know who's going to eat the food, who's going to eat all the food. You got the rotund one over here, the WWF wannabe, but he proved that he can throw down, so we'll see what happens.
All right, let's go up to our Octagon announcer, Manny Garcia, for the formal introduction of the fighters.
Introducing first, standing to my left, a kickboxer with a first-degree black belt in Okinawa. He is the former North American, two-time United States and World Amateur Kickboxing Champion, a former professional boxer. He is 16-1 as a professional kickboxer, 27 years old, standing 6 foot 1 inch tall, and weighing 210 pounds, fighting out of Semi Valley, California. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the current WKA North American Heavyweight Kickboxing Champion, Jim Mullen. His opponent standing to my right, a pit fighter with a UFC record of 2-1. He is one of the most powerful men ever to step into the octagon. He is a former two-time Nevada State Wrestling Champion and an All-American standout in football. 37 years old, standing 5 feet 11 inches tall, and weighing in at 323 pounds. Fighting out of Chicopee, Minnesota, he is Scott the Pitbull Ferrozzo.
And Scott's sister sending out a happy birthday wish to Mom Irene back home in Minnesota. And there is the Pitbull's wife, Joanne. And we are set to go. So it's Ferrozzo against Jim Mullen. First appearance for Mullen in the UFC.
Here we go, gentlemen. Are you ready?
John McCarthy, third man in the octagon.
Let's get it on!
I think you're right, Tank. I think a stand-up fighter is really going to have a tough time, and Ferrozzo, to his credit, is going to sit back a little bit and wait.
Whoa, into the octagon fence goes Mullen.
And he's using his size now. He's trying to smother Mullen up against the fence.
I think it's pretty much on right there. He doesn't need to work down submissions. Back up and drop some bombs right there.
There is the huge weight advantage of Ferrozzo.
He's too close right now to hit somebody with the effective power. He needs to back off, get some room, and drop some bombs. But it looks like he's working for some submission right there with the
potential choke there.
Right, the guillotine type thing. Now he's creating some space. He's salt and peppering him right now with some shots with his right.
Little uppercut landed by Ferrozzo. Mullen is fortunate that he didn't go head first right into the octagon fence when he went backward.
Yeah, Ferrozzo now is definitely looking for the choke. And the best way to really put a choke on is to put it on loosely and then he's tight.
There he is. He's creating some space now. Start popping. Pop, baby, pop. There you go.
Big uppercut.
There he is.
Ferrozzo.
All he's got to do up against the fence is either take the big man down or there he goes. Let's see what happens. He's got to get off the fence with a big man leaning against him like that.
Certainly does. Mullen needs to move.
Well, I think I've been in that position before.
This looks reminiscent, but you were the one driving Ferrozzo into the fence.
That's right. I knew how to survive. I didn't go to the hospital.
Somewhat surprising that Mullen, a kickboxer, chose to use the footwear.
Well, he wanted to stay on his feet. You can kick all you want with a shoe on, the specific shoe. There's only one shoe you're allowed to wear. And if you're going to keep the fight on your feet, you can go ahead and kick that way.
It doesn't look good for us. It's too effective with the choke.
Not yet.
Not yet. There's the knee. He's loosening him up. The man needs to get away from the fence. He doesn't have the power to play with a big man like that right there.
Certainly he's not going to get away from the fence with that much weight sitting in front of him, particularly with his legs split.
I agree with you, but he could scoot out to the left.
He should try. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and take punishment.
I don't know. That's kind of fun to feel.
I'm certainly not the one in the octagon, and I haven't been in the octagon.
Either one of us are there, and you know what? These men are going to war.
And a knee by Ferrozzo to the face of Mullen.
It's still, these punches are not effective. They're too close range. They're not coming from the other side of the ring where they can really do some damage. They're smothered, if you will.
That octagon is 32 feet across, but right now it could be 3 feet across.
That's the best kind of octagon. Foam move.
Mullen is doing a very good job of defending himself against a much bigger body who has experience.
It's reminiscent of Glammy and Johnson. Get up now, back up.
Yeah, he should have been getting up right there.
I don't know if he's got the eye of the tiger right now.
Well, he doesn't have the ground skills, and he's on the ground right now, so he really doesn't understand or have the skill to be able to just, as a wrestler, would be able to scoot to the side, turn the hips down, and get yourself up.
We're looking at Ferrozzo, a pit fighter, trying to employ a choke, and I don't know how deft he is at that tank.
It's more like a headlock. He's trying to knock him down where he can get himself on top of him in a mount. That's what ideally Ferrozzo wants.
I'll tell you what I'm captivated by is that new tattoo. Get up, son. Get up. There you are. Suck that knee up. Now get your feet behind you and come to your feet.
Not a good defensive posture here.
Now come up. Pull yourself up.
Actually, I think it's a good defensive posture. He's not getting hit really with any of those shots, but he's not giving them.
There he goes. I agree with Jeff.
He finally waited. He finally made him wait.
Now come outside.
And this is where Ferrozzo in the past has used his knees effectively.
I think Mullen's about to go down again.
Oh, down goes Mullen.
This is what Ferrozzo wanted all along, was to try to get to a guard where he can sit up, mount, and then have those effective punches come down on his opponent.
Well, this demonstrates how somebody that can basically fight on their feet can do a lazy guard and protect themselves. But
the fence helped. It kept them upright.
Sure.
Ferrozzo showed a little bit of athleticism there.
That's a nice straight double leg takedown, wrestling all the way, and just dumped his opponent down.
That's absolutely right. I mean, he's in there doing his thing and
doing it effectively.
What can you say?
Doing it effectively.
He's almost done, Scott. Go, not even punch.
Becky Levi in the corner. Ferrozzo shouting out instructions.
I want to fight Becky Levi.
Well, maybe we can arrange it.
Well, late night, maybe in a bedroom. I'm just teasing with you guys.
Well, let's see here. We got Ferrozzo on top, definitely trying to work, and Becky was yelling for him to set up just one effective punch. And there it was. He used his left hand. And that's somewhat what you have to do, is get the opponent to think one way, and then you go the other and pull anticipation. And that's what setting up is. That's what faking out is. Ferrozzo needs to do a little bit more of that, and I give Mullen a lot of credit here.
He has survived longer than I thought he would, and I'll tell you, either that is a credit to him, or that's just something about Ferrozzo not being able to really drop some bombs on some people.
And Mullen this time fighting back from the ground, trying to land a couple of blows. But it's not fun with the weight advantage now over 100 pounds.
Well, this is Ferrozzo's strength, but we saw Ferrozzo lose to Bolander down in Puerto Rico. A masterful strategy by Bolander to hang on, move around, and eventually choke out the big man. And then it looks like Ferrozzo's taking a break.
I'll tell you what, ignorance is bliss, and Bolander, just like Glammy, got lucky with Freddie and choked him out when ignorance is bliss. I don't think it ever happened again. And the big man's doing his thing. I hope he's pacing himself and doing all right. He looks all right. We can't really say anything bad about him. He's not finishing people, but he's definitely dominating.
And he's working.
He's certainly working. He's certainly trying. He's certainly trying to set up his next strike. But Mullen doing a great job of trying to keep his arms up, keep the guard so that Ferrozzo can't pass it and have a clean shot out.
7+ minutes
But there's
in.
only so much you can do from the bottom, and if you're a stand-up fighter, you don't have any of those submission skills to catch Ferrozzo off guard in a choke, arm lock, or leg lock, and really that's going to spell trouble for Mullen in the end. He can't score from here.
You have to say one thing about the guard. I mean, you got a stand-up fighter that can learn it in probably 2 weeks to protect himself.
Get up.
One thing to protect yourself, it's quite another to be able to
Back to
win.
the corner. Get back up here.
It looks like something's happening.
McCarthy wants to have Mullen looked at first. He wants to have Mullen looked at.
Turn around, look at
And
me.
then a decision will be rendered by Leon Tabbs and Dr. Richard Istrico. And they will decide if he will continue. If he does, it will be from a starting position, a standing position. But that left eye has taken a bit of a beating.
Got a bit of swelling around it.
Might be Ultimate
I'll tell
Fighting
you one
Championship.
thing, I'm
but
getting
where you
turned
live?
on by Ferrozzo.
California.
Good man. Your brother's here, right?
You
Look at
are.
my nose. You look at my nose
He's
right
all
now.
breathing, he's bent
See the other
over.
eye. Open up, both of them. Open both of them.
He's my kind of guy.
So being checked out now
Look at the light.
is
Look at the light.
Mullen by
Look at the
Dr.
light.
Bernie
Look at the light.
Kennitz. He,
Look at the
along
light.
with his
Okay, it's coming
wife,
right at you. Keep your eyes
Tracy
right on
Martin
it.
Kennitz, two of the
good.
local physicians here in Dothan, working with Dr. Richard Istrigo, the chief medical advisor.
I'm tell you right now, you got to get busy.
And I believe they are going to let Mullen continue. McCarthy wants him to work.
All right. Now, I like that. That's good. Let's see some love. Get out and beat on each other.
So we're about 7:45 in.
We're in the bedroom. It's Friday. Let's see some rough love.
Let's get it on.
A restart with 4+ minutes left in regulation of this heavyweight tournament semifinal bout between Jim Mullen and Scott
Nice
Ferrozzo.
punching. Don't run, son. Here he is. He's trapped in the corner again.
Just got
Ferrozzo.
That's it.
Ferrozzo dropped some bombs on him. He looked sharp right there.
He's tired. He had one last shot at it. He couldn't get it done, and that ended it.
You can't turn your back to Ferrozzo in that
Okay, I want you to
position.
sit there.
That's true, Bruce.
Thank you for the confirmation. Mullen appears to be
Although,
okay.
if he wanted to turn his back on
Mullins is okay. He's just going to stay there, wait for the doctor, and check out that eye.
absolutely. Mullins is not hurt. Doctor goes in there checking him out. It's going to be an A-OK, I'm sure.